In the middle of the vast blue waters of the South China Sea, silence is broken not by waves, but by the roar of engines and the radar pulses of warships locked onto each other. The world watches anxiously as the great powers move closer to confrontation. On one side, the United States Navy, armed with unmatched firepower, advanced radar systems, and decades of combat experience. On the other side, China's rapidly growing naval force, determined to assert dominance in a region it claims as its own. This is not a drill. This is not an exercise. This is the razor's edge of modern warfare, where a single mistake can ignite a conflict that engulfs the entire world. It begins when Chinese command orders a Type 05-D destroyer to intercept the USS Princeton, a Ticonderoga-class guided missile cruiser. The Princeton, part of the powerful Nimitz carrier strike group, has been patrolling international waters to ensure freedom of navigation, but to Beijing, this is a direct challenge. Radar locks flash, missiles stand ready, and crews brace for orders that could change history forever. The South China Sea, already one of the most contested waters on Earth, suddenly becomes the center of global tension. As the Chinese destroyer closes distance, warning sirens echo on the decks of the USS Princeton. Sailors rush to their stations, scanning radar screens glowing with incoming signatures. The Princeton's Aegis combat system instantly identifies the Chinese warship, tracking its movements down to the smallest detail. Every second counts. In the Combat Information Center, officers weigh their options: hold fire and risk being outmaneuvered, or respond aggressively and risk escalation. The tension is unbearable, and the silence between commands feels louder than the roar of the ocean itself. Meanwhile, from China's newest aircraft carrier, J-15 fighter jets scream into the sky. Their afterburners light up the horizon as they lock onto the U.S. formation. In response, the U.S. Navy launches F/A-18 Super Hornets from the deck of the USS Nimitz. Engines thunder as these jets slice through the sky, arming missiles and preparing for combat. At that very moment, the world teeters on the edge of disaster. Billions of people sleep peacefully, unaware that the fate of global stability hangs by a thread in these contested waters. Beneath the waves, stealth submarines patrol silently. The U.S. deploys a Virginia-class submarine, capable of striking targets with Tomahawk cruise missiles. China counters with its Type 93 Shank-class nuclear submarine, stalking its prey in the dark silence of the deep ocean. It is a deadly game of cat and mouse where detection means destruction. Sonar pings quietly echo, searching the abyss, as submarine crews hold their breath, aware that discovery could mean instant annihilation. Electronic warfare now begins to take shape. China's radar jammers attempt to blind U.S. surveillance, while American E-2D Hawkeye aircraft orbit overhead, scanning the entire battlespace. Invisible beams of electronic signals clash in the sky, disabling guidance systems and scrambling communications. This is no longer just a battle of ships and planes. It is a full-spectrum confrontation where satellites in orbit, cyber warfare units, and unmanned drones all play a decisive role. As the minutes turn into hours, destroyers move dangerously close to missile range. One wrong step, one misinterpreted signal, and the sky could light up with fire. Commands flow rapidly between Washington and the fleet, and Beijing issues its own orders with unyielding resolve. The South China Sea, known for centuries of trade and culture, is now a chessboard of steel, fire, and technology. Every move is calculated. Every hesitation could be fatal. The USS Princeton, equipped with standard missile interceptors, prepares for the worst. Its vertical launch cells are armed and ready. The Chinese destroyers YJ-18 anti-ship missiles sit in their launchers, waiting for the command that could ignite war. Radar operators whisper updates, pilots grip their controls, and commanders glance at the clock, knowing that history may record this night as the beginning of a new world war. Suddenly, a Chinese fighter jet dives aggressively toward the U.S. formation, locking onto the Princeton with its fire control radar. Within seconds, American F/A-18s engage, intercepting the hostile aircraft before it can release weapons. A cat-and-mouse dogfight explodes in the skies, with pilots pushing their jets to the limits, each maneuver carrying the weight of national pride and global consequence. Missiles streak across the horizon, but both sides hold back from a lethal strike. This is brinkmanship at its highest level. A deadly dance meant to test resolve without crossing the point of no return. On the ground, global leaders scramble. Emergency meetings are called at the United Nations. Diplomats work frantically behind closed doors, urging restraint. Stock markets tremble. Oil prices surge. and ordinary citizens across the world scroll their phones in confusion, seeing headlines of confrontation, but not realizing how close humanity stands to disaster. The future is uncertain, and fear spreads like wildfire. As the standoff escalates, the U.S. Navy deploys its most advanced weaponry, carrier-based drones with stealth capabilities. Circling silently above the ocean, China responds with swarms of unmanned aerial vehicles, overwhelming radar screens with countless signals. This is warfare of the future, a battlefield where machines fight alongside humans, where algorithms decide life and death in fractions of a second. The sea and the sky are no longer silent, they are alive with the roar of engines, the pulse of radars, and the invisible hum of electronic warfare. And yet, despite all the firepower, despite the warships bristling with missiles and the jets roaring overhead, neither side dares to take the first lethal shot. Because they know, the moment one missile is launched in anger, the world will change forever. The South China Sea would ignite into flames, drawing allies and adversaries alike, pulling nations into a war that no one can win. Nuclear arsenals would cast a shadow over every decision. Humanity itself would stand at the brink of annihilation. For now, restraint holds. Radio messages crackle through the static as both navies issue warnings. Commands are given to shadow but not fire. Jets maintain lock-ons but do not release missiles. Submarines track silently but hold their torpedoes. Hours pass like days until finally, the Chinese destroyer veers off course, signaling disengagement. The USS Princeton maintains formation, its sailors exhausted but relieved. A catastrophe has been avoided for now. The confrontation becomes global news. Analysts debate who won the standoff. Strategists warn of future conflict, and citizens breathe a sigh of relief that the worst has been delayed. But beneath that relief lies a chilling truth. This was only a glimpse of what is to come. The rivalry between the United States and China is far from over. The South China Sea remains a powder keg, waiting for the next spark. And the world knows, when giants clash on the open ocean, peace is only ever temporary. This is the new reality of modern warfare, where technology, power, and politics collide. Where navies patrol oceans not just for defense but for dominance. And where every encounter carries the weight of potential catastrophe. The standoff in the South China Sea may have ended without a missile fired, but it has left behind a warning to all of humanity. In a world of rising powers and endless ambition, the line between peace and war has never been thinner. One day, that line may finally be crossed.